missed an EU deadline. This is to bring in new rules around pay transparency.
So joining us to discuss this is HR expert Louisa Meehan. Good morning to you, Louisa. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, the EU Transparency Directive, it was meant to come in on June the 7th. We missed the deadline on it. What is it and what are we doing about it?
So I think we were expecting to miss the deadline. It's not unusual, I suppose, for bringing EU directives in that we might miss the occasional deadline. The challenge right now is that we're not clear when it's going to come into effect. And there's a couple of really key things. This is based in sort of gender pay gap, and that's really where it's coming from. That's the sort of purpose behind the legislation. One key thing for employers when they're going out to recruit new staff is that in the future, we have to both tell individuals what the salary range will be or the starting salary for a new position. And also you cannot ask an applicant what their current salary is, which would be quite a common question to look at what salary I'm going to put somebody on based on what salary they're currently on. So it's to eliminate that as an option. So rather we're going to say, here's what the range is. And, one of the questions that I would say to somebody is, what's your salary expectation? Not what's your current salary. I think we should be allowed to say that, but it's not 100% clear just yet.
Louisa, it doesn't seem very hard, I'm going to be honest. What you've just said there, it seems like something you should be able to introduce. Why have we missed it?
Well, there's more to it than that. So that's one element of it. Another is that within a lot of employment contracts, there's a clause that prevents you from discussing your terms and conditions, your salary, your bonus, etc. So that will be null and void. So any employee will be able to say what their earnings are to their peers. There'll be no degree of confidentiality. And that will be quite different. There'll also be additional requirements in terms of salary increases within an organization. And one group of individuals within an organization will be able to understand what the salary is for another group. So that's sort of, you'd have heard of equal pay for equal work. So it's amplifying that and putting a lot more weight behind what that means.
Okay, so in terms of this, I'm just reading a survey here about an IBOTS survey with 1,000 employees, 300 employers. It looks like employers are quite nervous about this. Why?
Because employers like to be able to have private conversations. Even some of the large corporates will put individuals in what they call a spot salary. So somebody might be in a senior management position in a large corporate, and there might be 1,000 people on senior management positions, but on very, very different salaries. And if we take away that air of confidentiality and that veil of, I suppose, privacy, then if everybody knows what everybody's earning, well, nobody's going to want the lowest salary. They're all going to want the highest salary. And that will create a sense of individual issues potentially, or collective issues within organizations where people are feeling that they've been unfairly treated. So ultimately, employers are nervous because this has the potential to have a significant impact on the bottom line in terms of potentially increasing salary across the board and eliminating the opportunity for more private one-to-one conversations with an individual.
I would imagine it would really damage culture in an organization as well if somebody finds out that they weren't getting paid well enough and for how long this has been going on. So in terms of actually teams in organizations and groups could be quite damaging.
Absolutely. And I think, a really simple example that I use to try and explain this is say in an organization where there's a warehouse and there's a finance team, and the people in the warehouse who are driving the workloads and, putting away gear or whatever it might be, they're paid a particular salary, and then the administrators in the finance team are paid a different salary. In a lot of those situations, because the warehouse staff may be a little bit more difficult to get, but they're predominantly men, they will oftentimes be on a higher salary to the individuals who be in the admin roles who are predominantly women. And that might be a little bit easier to recruit into, but the value of that work to the organization is probably the same. And so the salary that those individuals should be paid across the organization, albeit very different work, but the value it's bringing, the level at which they're operating is the same. So one would then assume that maybe that the salaries should be the same. And that's a massive cultural shift for organizations. And there is a significant gender element to that in certain sectors and in certain organizations.
Yeah, the Irish Congress of Trade Unions has said that the fact that we haven't initiated this pay directive, this European pay directive, it's going to cost working women more than 570 million euro a year. Where are they getting that figure from?
I'm not sure where they're getting that figure from, to be honest, but there is certainly a lot of evidence out there to demonstrate that there can be a significant gap between what men are earning and women. And it's in Europe, it's in around 11-12%. So for a lot of women, there could be a gap in terms of applying for a job in the region of 10 to 11,000 euros in terms of what they're asking for. This is why we're trying to eliminate that question around what are you currently earning, because if I'm in a job and there's a man in a similar job, but my salary is significantly lower, and we go for a different job, we're both going for a promotional opportunity. If the person who's recruiting us knows what our current salary is, and I'm the best person for the job, well, if they give me, 10 grand or 10% of an increase, that's a brilliant increase, and I'd be delighted with myself. But if they were to give the man who's on more to start with a 10% increase, they would go significantly more. And so it's to try and eliminate that opportunity for difference and have it be the organizations have to decide up front, what is the role worth? Not what is the person worth in the role, but what is the role worth to the organization? And am I paying the person carrying out that role the amount that the role is worth? So it's a very different mindset for organizations.
Because of this, the survey talks about 45% of people, like it says 25% of people have been given a promotion without getting a pay increase. 45% of people are uncomfortable asking for a pay rise, with it significantly more being women are less likely for a pay rise than men. So does this mean that if the women don't ask for it and the men do ask for it, it means ends up that they're going to be worse off because the employers, it means, won't give the pay increases if they're not asked or pushed?
That's what has happened, and that's what we're trying to prevent happening into the future. And I certainly see lots of situations where you'll have an individual who's very proactive at asking for pay increases and very good at doing it. And it's a skill. It's a learned skill. So if you do it a few times and it's successful, then you're going to be more inclined to do it again. Versus somebody who turns up, does their job, and their sort of attitude is, well, my employer will pay me a fair amount for what I'm doing. I don't need to go ask. I trust my employer. I trust in the relationship. And they don't ask. And so that absolutely is an issue in organizations. And the research would show that women are less likely to demand higher salaries. They're less likely to go in at a higher salary to begin with. And over the course of a lifetime, for a woman, that can amount to about 500,000 euros of a difference. So there's research in relation to that. It's a significant impact in relation to a lifelong journey of work. So it's not about there being a $5,000 difference in 2026.
Yeah.
If you have that difference over 40 years,
there's a significant amount there. And sure, AI are coming for all our jobs anyway. They're not. I'm joking. Louise and me, an HR expert, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really do appreciate it.
Thanks, Lisa.